Hi guys, it's Pat McKenna, head of events and product planning at Mini USA. Thanks for joining us tonight in our second part of Mini Q&A, a part of Meet at Mini, which is our virtual series to be closer with all of you, our community. So tonight we have a special guest, Mike Peyton. He is the chief motorer for Mini USA, and he's also head of the Americas. So that means all of North America and South America. So Canada all the way down to the bottom of the Americas. So it's great to be with you. Mike is my boss. So just full disclosure, this is not going to be the Mike Wallace 60 Minutes investigative journalism interview tonight. So if that's what you tuned in for, I'm sorry, you're not going to hear "you can't handle the truth" or something like that. Mike is a great guy. He has worked for Ford, Harley Davidson. He was the head of BMW motorcycles, and now we're lucky to have him at the helm of Mini. And you, the community, get to take part and ask questions. So click on the comment section, ask a question, and we'll do our best to get to it. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Mike on live, and here we go. We have liftoff.
What's going on?
Victory. How are you?
I'm doing good, Pat. How are you?
All right. What's it been, like 30 minutes since we last spoke?
I'll tell you, it's a pretty regular opportunity to engage, isn't it?
So, Mike, we can start with a softball question. Like, for example, what do you like about me as an employee? What do you love about me as an employee? Or we can go to some real questions.
I love that shirt, Pat. That's the first thing.
Yeah. This is Mike's favorite shirt for me. Reminds him of Christmas.
It does. It
Mike,
does.
this is almost kind of like an episode of This Is Your Life. So let's go. One of the things I was really fascinated when I first met you, when you worked for Harley Davidson in 2009, tell us what was in your driveway.
You're probably not interested in the Ford Escape.
No.
You're
No, thank you.
you're probably
I'm not interested in the Ford Escape.
Okay, so you're probably more interested in the 2009 two-door hatch Cooper S.
Nice.
Huh? So
Nice.
Silver, white stripes, and black lounge leather. It was
Lounge
very
leather,
nice.
not even leatherette. A little upgrade there.
All the way.
All right.
All
Now,
the way.
when you were driving that car, did you think someday I'll be at the helm of Mini USA?
You know what? It was interesting because in that time of my life, it was like I had been in automotive for all my career. I had switched over to Harley with power sports and thought that was now power sports was it. And so no, it was a surprise, but it's been a really, really cool surprise. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's great.
Well,
It's awesome to be here.
So I promise I'm not making this up. I have actually said this. There's tape of me somewhere saying this, but I have compared Mini to Harley Davidson because I really think there's more similarities than with other car companies. When you really, and when I say it, I'm just talking almost entirely about the community and the fan base, because I really do think that's one of my favorite things about Mini. It's the most special kind of element of it. But tell me from your perspective, like you've literally been in both companies, and also like just your feelings about community in general.
Yeah, you're right. I think when I certainly was kind of coming back into the automotive business, I have always said that's definitely an interesting foreshadowing. That's like Mini was always the perfect brand to get into from a community standpoint, and Harley was always a brand where people would come to the company and they'd be like, "How do you guys do it? How do you, how did you create this?" And the interesting part of it was like Harley didn't necessarily create the community. It was the owners and all the riders that created the community. And so I think that's definitely a really cool similarity with Mini, is that Mini, it's all about the passionate owners and how everyone has cultivated it themselves. It's not like Mini said, "Oh, we're gonna create a community." The things that happen organically like that is the best thing. But it's on one hand, I think the similarities of passion and just the history, those are definitely some things that I think are really common. But then you separate a little bit between two wheels, four wheels, and when I think about the mini community specifically, I mean it's so diverse, which is incredible, and I just think the interest that you see, the people that you meet, the customization of kind of making it my mini, that I think is incredible. And so to your whole point about, I think community is probably one of our most important things. Obviously the product is core and what the product's all about, but most importantly it's the people, it's the community, and that is definitely something that has to be a strength for ours going forward, without a doubt.
Great to hear that. And I think the reason I made the comparison is because I think we're unique in that we have enthusiasts across the full brand, whereas like maybe you have from some other companies, like an individual model has like an enthusiast fan base, but it's rare to get the full range. So that's why I think it's great. Let's take one from the audience. Let's bounce around a little. Kylie Landon asks, what is your favorite mini model?
Well, I'm definitely a big fan of a lot of horsepower in minis. So I've got to say that my favorite current is my JCW Countryman, and 301 horsepower is just incredible in that. But if I kind of think back more historically, I'm a big Austin 7 fan.
Oh, nice.
I've also got, there's a picture on my phone, which I obviously can't show you right now, of a Gulf Cabrio, which is just really, really cool. My favorite thing was on the side of it was bicycles. So if anybody's ever been to Munich and all the bicyclists, I thought it was kind of cool. He's got bicycles on the side, X'd out. But yeah, there's so many, but I really like a lot of the classics. But I also like where we're going with higher horsepower, which just makes it that much more fun.
Awesome. So what is the status of Mini Takes the States? We've announced we're gonna bring it back in 21. So a lot of people are asking, so does that mean we'll be back in 22 or 23? Do we go back to the 2-year cadence?
Yeah, I think, well, I would love it if we could do it like all the time, to your point. And we've certainly been on an even year cadence. But I think what we're going to find is, so we had to skip a year. Obviously, it was unfortunate, but necessary. We'll be back in 21, but then 21 will start us back on a 2-year cycle. So 23 will be the next one, and we'll then be kind of on an odd year cadence. So, and I'm looking forward to that too. I was so psyched this year. I think we had such a cool route plan. I was looking forward to getting on the track in the Performance Center. But we're still going to do that, just a little bit later than we had intended.
Yeah, I think it was the toughest decision we made this year. And I think I always tell people when I saw the Olympics kind of get canceled or postponed, I was like, okay, time out. I think we have to take note of this. So I think we made the right call.
You look like you've been like the Olympics getting ready for.
Yeah, I'm bulking up.
Yeah, all right, nice.
I'm bulking up. Hey, what do you think of Mini Electric? What do you think of our new Mini Electric entry? I
think it is really, really fun. I mean, the first time I got in it, I was a little surprised because you're not quite sure. You're thinking electric, and is electric going to make sense for Mini? And what if I don't have the cool exhaust note and all that? But I'll tell you, you get in it, and it puts a smile on your face. It's all Mini. I love the way it handles. I've had a chance, like yourself, to do kind of a back-to-back sometimes when you drive it, and I actually might think that it's one of our best handling Minis. So I think it's awesome. It's just such a lot of fun, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You've driven it, right?
Of course, yeah. And I just, I think the 0 to 60 time doesn't really do it justice because I think it feels
Yeah,
even faster than it really is.
I agree.
And the reality we have, like we have a pre-order system. The car, for all intents and purposes, is pretty much almost sold out for the whole year. So it's like
Yeah.
it's just great. It's a great value proposition. There's been so many great articles about it.
So a comment on that.
Yeah,
So I certainly know I have personally had customers reach out to me. I think right now we've got like 1,100 reservations, and we are literally, going to every customer in order as they have put their orders in, just to be fair. We've had a lot of customers say also that, hey, I'd really like to get to my dealer and I really want to drive one. Unfortunately, I mean, there's really not going to be anything for anybody to drive or test drive because literally everything is spoken for as they're coming off of the production line and getting here. People are waiting for them, so that part's fantastic. And I will say, so for those that are waiting, those that are saying, well, I'm going to wait until I can actually drive it. Everyone I've talked to that has gotten into their new Mini Electric, I've heard nothing but positive, pleasant surprises and people loving it. So I would encourage people to make sure you're getting on the list. Don't wait because we're definitely looking at adding more and we're trying to keep up. But it's great news that we've got high demand. The bad news is you're not really going to find them on dealer lots at the moment. So.
yeah. And one of the challenges, not only do we have great demand for it, but we lost really 2 months of production because of COVID. So that slowed us down a bit, but it's just great to see the car is so well received and it qualifies for some great tax credits. Um, Landon Wilson asks, how do you make a Mini look so good, Mike? How do you do that?
I rely on incredible people like yourself, spending a lot of hours working with the design team. No, I'll tell you, you certainly don't want me doing all of that intricate designing because Oliver and team back in Munich obviously does an incredible job. And actually, you might know, Pat, I've seen a few of the upcoming minis and some things around the corner. And I will say they're definitely kind of trying to modernize, what you would expect from a Mini in the future. But then you would definitely look at it and say, that is definitely a Mini. But making sure that, we're continuing to kind of progress as a brand but still harking back to our heritage at the same time. But yeah, no, I leave it up to the experts. I'm not the design guy, but I know the designers we've got working on the minis are incredibly passionate. They love what they do. They have some really crazy ideas, and they've got some stuff that you would think is not, really something that we could do, but they're finding ways to make it possible. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah. Now, Oliver Heilmer, the head of design, is a great guy. And one thing I have an appreciation for is when you have to see all the regulations that they have to conform to. I think a lot of people think they just sit down with a clean piece of paper. That's how maybe it starts, but then there's a lot of regulations they have to pay attention. So they have,
particularly in the U.S.
Yeah, and they have to pay attention to U.S., Asia, Europe. So it's not easy. Another question from the audience: do you think electrification will play a large role in the product portfolio in the future for Mini?
I think with certainly the great reaction we've got from Cooper SE has definitely shown us that I think there's a really good fit for electrification and Mini, without a doubt. Obviously, we can't confirm all of our future plans, but I will definitely say that people are going to see more electrification in the Mini lineup. Mini and electrification, I think it is a very good fit. Some people might say, well, why does it take us so long to kind of get in this space? But the reality is, we wanted to make sure that an electric vehicle, an electric Mini, was definitely a real Mini. And I think we've done that with a Cooper SE. And so definitely there are plans in the not so distant future where I think we will look at more electrification on our lineup for sure. But people should also know that for kind of certainly the foreseeable future as well, we will continue to have internal combustion because there's demand for that as well, and that's a great fit for Mini as well.
And we are a lot of people don't know this, but we're super unique as a company. The same production line in Oxford, England, that turns out our gas-powered Cooper S is also turning out the Mini Cooper SE, and that's pretty remarkable. The same production line, so that's very rare.
Absolutely.
Alamo Gearhead asks, "What about a dog accessory line from Mini Cooper?" Mike, you're uniquely qualified for this.
Yeah, so people that don't know, my wife's actually a veterinarian. So, and somewhere roaming around here are two black Labradors. And but yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I know there's probably a few things people have come across here and there, but I think that is definitely would be a great opportunity.
I seem to recall we had things in the past. We had dog bowls, leashes. So I think sometimes, and I think this goes for a lot of the mini business. Sometimes it's like just getting back to our roots and just going back to some things that we did in the past. So it's just, keep it simple, as they say.
I'd like to see some hearts or thumbs up if people think that we ought to do more like mini licensed merchandise, because
Yeah.
I don't think we do enough of that.
Right.
Because there's a lot of things that I would love to see with the mini logo on it or a mini version of it. So, yeah.
All right. Vanessa asks, "What mini is best for a first car?"
So I would respond back to that one is like, what mini is not best for a first car? Is there a bad mini? No, but you know what? I'll tell you. I think it depends on what you want to do, right? Because I think there's some people, if they want to get out there and be adventurous, and they've got their furry friends with them, or they want to have a lot of friends. I don't know. Maybe Countryman's a good fit. I don't think people should always say, "Oh, well, I need to start at with just a two-door Cooper," or I know we have Oxford editions, and those have been really, really great values, or a great starting point and entry point for sure. But I think at the end of the day, you should really always start with, what do you want to do? What kind of driving are you going to do? And that should kind of be your starting point.
Absolutely.
That's always my perspective.
I think it's great for first-time buyers or to learn how to drive a manual, which is actually a quick question. Luis Guzmani asks, "Manual transmissions coming back?" Yes, we have 8 models. Eight, I can't count. 8 models with manual transmissions for model year 21. So definitely get out there and get those. Another question coming in, Alexers asks, "What are the requirements for someone who is hoping to become a motoring advisor?"
Oh, that's
And I think, and here's what will surprise some people. I have been to a number of dealers where they actually hired people from Nordstrom. I think it really comes down to personality, the personal. So, someone who's passionate, and that's my take. What do you think, Mike?
So you stole a couple of my words too, and I think to be a motoring advisor, you don't need to be a car person, right? If you certainly if you're already somebody that's into mini, that's obviously a big thing. The passion is really important, but to your point, I think that some dealers that have looked into like the hospitality industry, people that are already predisposed to delivering a great customer experience, that's what you need. If you're personable, you got an interest in mini, and you're passionate about helping other people get into minis, that is honestly all you need. You can learn all the rest.
There was one thing I heard somewhere along the line that was really interesting, is that Panera Bread is even a good resource because they screen so much for, again, positive energy, personality. So I think it's
like Pat McKenna.
Yeah. I would love to sell minis. Mike, do you have a favorite Mini Takes Estates memory?
Um, you know what? Since I was at the closing of the last Mini Takes Estates, that's probably my favorite memory because I had my whole family there, and we were in Colorado because we like to go to Breckenridge all the time. So we were just kind of on the other side of the mountain, um, and I loved that the whole, what do we call it, the silent disco. I thought that
Right.
was a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
fun at night, and then when you saw everyone's kind of headsets glowing. But I thought that whole venue, obviously being up in the mountains, what a great turnout, and just some of the cool things that were happening on the final event. I thought was really really cool.
Awesome. So we've got time for just one or two more.
Wow.
Mike, what do you see as next for Mini? Like, what's your quick take on the future of Mini?
Yeah, so I think in the near term, I think everyone should expect that we want to definitely get more engaged and in some cases re-engage with the Mini community. I'm serious that that's really been a strength for our brand and needs to continue to be a strength in the future. So even yet this year, I think people will see more and more opportunities for us to really re-engage, strengthen, and just cultivate our community. When you start thinking about where Mini can go and what some of the opportunities are, I know there's been some things floating around in the news lately on rumors on future product, and I won't necessarily deny anything of what's floating out there. But I think particularly as we look at the U.S., we look at some of the opportunities in the market, I think you may see an expansion of our lineup, and that may include some minis that are getting a little bit larger or more accommodating in that regard. But I think people may also see some things that get us back a little bit to our heritage and maybe what they expected from Mini, when Mini started. So, I would say I would answer that with maybe a broadening of our portfolio, certainly keeping it all very Mini. I think you'll also see us continue to enhance a lot of the innovative features, a lot of the technology and customization, because those are definitely important aspects for the brand too. And I know Oliver and the design team have a lot of really cool things in store for us. So,
Yeah. And we have model year 21 is the freshening or the life cycle impulse for the Countryman. So that goes into production in just July 1st, so just around the corner. And that's model year 21 for the Clubman. That was also a question that came up. Mike, what do you like about what does motoring mean to you? So kind of let's end on a big philosophical question. What is motoring?
That is a big
to you?
philosophical question. So I would definitely say so. Motoring is about it's escape, it's getting out, and in some cases, kind of clearing your head and getting all of the particularly now, all the stuff that's going on in the world. It's just a way to kind of just get out, enjoy the road, enjoy the experience, having some fun. And then on the other side, while it's something you can do on your own, right? And all those things I just talked about, I think the other great thing about motoring is it's about others and engaging with, other miniacs and people that are just passionate about the brand, so you can share that experience. And motoring doesn't always necessarily mean that it's always about driving. Sometimes it's the journey getting there. Other times it's the destination and what you're doing while you're there. So I think you could probably ask that question to 100 people and maybe get a slight different nuance, some similarities. But my biggest thing is just it's a great opportunity to just escape, just kind of just get back to appreciating the road and what's going on around you and the friends around you as well.
And you and I are in the New York area, which is kind of has been in full lockdown mode. But you and I had a very similar experience in that we took basically a 2.5 hour ride to Keeler Mini up in Albany to deliver GP #1. And I have to say, it just echoes everything you just mentioned, which was it made me appreciate how much, I just love being out on the road in my Mini and it made me realize how much I missed it because
Yeah.
honestly, we were, the car was just sitting in the driveway and just wasn't, it was just making short trips. So that was the first time getting out on the road.
In like 3 months or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were there in your mask delivering GP number one, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But that was loads of fun. That was great.
And congratulations to Nick Tubbs as well. I mean, I know he
Yes.
was super excited. I did a quick interview with him, and he had a chance to put a few more miles on it. And yeah, he had like a 2.5 hour drive or something to go
Yep.
pick it up. So that would have been a fun drive home.
Yes. And we made a decision, let's surprise him on site. So he knew he was picking up a GP. He didn't know he was getting GP number one.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. Mike, you've been an absolute joy as a guest. And I'm
And
not
you're
just
always a
saying
great
that.
host, Pat.
I'm not
This is your
just saying
second
that because
calling.
you're my boss. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This is number 2 on the Q&A. Stay tuned for next week when we'll have Head of Sound Engineering, Renzo Vital, with us, talking about what it's
Nice.
like to develop sound engineering into the Mini. So thank you all.
Great.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
everybody. Keep up the mini wave. See ya.